Good morning/afternoon/evening, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both profound and personal: how to understand yourself. Understanding yourself is not a one-time event. It's a journey, a practice of discovery and reflection. But it's also one of the most transformative steps you can take in life. It lays the foundation for authentic relationships, meaningful work, and a deep sense of fulfillment. Every meaningful journey begins with a question: why? It's a deceptively simple word, yet it holds the key to unlocking who you truly are. When you ask yourself why, you're not just scratching the surface of your identity, you're digging deep into the very essence of what drives you, what fulfills you, and what makes you feel alive. Your why is your purpose. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning, the force behind your decisions, and the compass that guides you through life's uncertainties. And yet so many of us move through life without truly understanding it. We focus on what we do, our jobs, our routines, our responsibilities, and sometimes even how we do it. But without knowing the why, all those things can feel hollow. Discovering your why isn't always straightforward. It's not something you find in a single moment of epiphany. It requires patience, introspection, and, most importantly, honesty. Start by reflecting on moments in your life when you felt truly fulfilled. Think about the times when you lost track of time because you were so immersed in what you were doing. What were you doing? Who were you with? What was it about that experience that gave you energy and joy? These moments often provide clues to your why. It's important to understand that your why is not just about what benefits you. It's also about the impact you have on others. A true sense of purpose connects you to something greater than yourself. It might be about inspiring others, creating art, solving problems, nurturing relationships, or making a difference in your community. Whatever it is, your why gives meaning not just to your actions, but to the lives of those around you. But discovering your why is only the first step. The real challenge is living it. When you know your purpose, it becomes a lens through which you evaluate your choices and actions. Does this career align with my why? Do these relationships support it? Am I spending my time in ways that honor my purpose? Living in alignment with your why takes courage because it often requires making hard decisions and stepping outside your comfort zone. Think about this. Every great leader, innovator, or change maker you admire has been guided by a clear sense of purpose. They've used their why to inspire action, overcome obstacles, and persevere through challenges. And while their paths may look different, the common thread is that they've rooted themselves in their why. Your why is your North Star. It may not always be easy to see, especially in difficult times, but it's always there, guiding you toward the life you're meant to live. When you start with your why, you not only unlock a deeper understanding of yourself, but you also create the foundation for a life that is intentional, impactful, and truly your own. So take the time to ask yourself, what is my why? Why do I do what I do? And if the answer isn't clear today, don't worry. It's a journey worth taking because when you find your why, you find yourself. Vulnerability is a word that often makes people uncomfortable. For many, it conjures up thoughts of weakness, failure, or exposure. But in truth, vulnerability is one of the most powerful tools you have for understanding yourself. It's not a sign of fragility. It's a hallmark of courage and authenticity. To embrace vulnerability is to acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, that you're imperfect, and that you've faced struggles and made mistakes. It's about peeling back the layers of who you think you should be and revealing who you truly are. That's not easy. It requires bravery, but the rewards are profound. Vulnerability is the gateway to deeper self-awareness, stronger connections with others, and a more meaningful life. Let's start with why vulnerability is essential for understanding yourself. Many of us go through life wearing masks. We create personas to fit in, to be liked, or to avoid judgment. But these masks often distance us from our true selves. When you embrace vulnerability, you let go of the need to be perfect or invincible. You allow yourself to confront your fears, insecurities, and emotions without judgment. This act of honesty is what leads to real growth. For example, consider a time in your life when you faced failure. Perhaps it was a project that didn't work out, a relationship that ended, or a goal you didn't achieve. The instinct might be to brush it off, blame external factors, or bury the feelings. But what if instead you leaned into that moment? What if you allowed yourself to feel the disappointment, to reflect on what went wrong, and to acknowledge your role in it? In doing so, you're not just processing the failure, you're learning from it. Vulnerability turns mistakes into lessons and setbacks into stepping stones. Vulnerability also deepens your connections with others. When you open up about your struggles, fears, or imperfections, you invite others to do the same. This shared humanity is what builds trust and empathy. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are it's not because they've never made mistakes or experienced pain. It's because they've been willing to share those moments, to say, I've been there too. However, embracing vulnerability doesn't mean sharing everything with everyone. It's not about oversharing or exposing yourself indiscriminately. True vulnerability is thoughtful and intentional. It's about being honest with yourself first, and then sharing with others in ways that are meaningful and constructive. To embrace vulnerability, start small. Pay attention to the moments when you feel the urge to hide or avoid discomfort. Instead of shutting down, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why does this make me uncomfortable? What can I learn from this? Over time, you'll begin to see vulnerability not as something to fear, but as a source of strength. It's also important to remember that vulnerability is a practice, not a one-time event. It's something you cultivate over time. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is where growth happens. As the saying goes, what you resist persists. By leaning into vulnerability, you break free from resistance and open yourself to transformation. And you lay it on fastback as you finish your sentence. By leaning into vulnerability, you break free from resistance and open yourself to transformation. We live in a world that often encourages us to focus outward on achievements, accolades, and the perceptions of others. The external world tells us that success is measured by what we own, how we look, or the titles we hold. But the truth is, lasting fulfillment and meaningful connections can't be built outward first. They must begin inward. To truly understand yourself and create a life that aligns with your purpose, you must start by looking inward. Self-awareness is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without it, you risk living a life shaped by external expectations rather than your own values, desires, and beliefs. So what does it mean to look inward? It's about taking the time to examine your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. It's asking yourself, what truly matters to me? What are my strengths, my fears, my patterns, and my blind spots? Looking inward requires introspection, a willingness to pause, reflect, and be honest with yourself about who you are and what you want. This process isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable to confront parts of yourself that you've ignored or suppressed. You might uncover fears you didn't realize were holding you back, or habits that no longer serve you. But these moments of discomfort are essential for growth. By acknowledging them, you gain clarity and open the door to change. Looking inward also involves reconnecting with your values. Your values are the principles that guide your decisions and actions. They're the core of who you are. Yet, in the hustle and noise of daily life, it's easy to lose sight of them. Take time to reflect on questions like, what do I stand for? What brings me joy? What do I want my legacy to be? When you're clear on your values, you can align your actions with them, creating a life that feels authentic and meaningful. But introspection isn't just about understanding yourself in isolation. It's about understanding how you show up in the world. Your inner state, your thoughts, emotions, and mindset directly influences your relationships, your work, and your impact on others. Think of it like this. If you're carrying unresolved anger, fear, or insecurity, it will inevitably affect how you interact with people and how you approach challenges. Conversely, when you cultivate self-awareness and inner peace, you can engage with the world from a place of strength and authenticity. Looking inward also helps you build resilience. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. But when you have a strong sense of self, you're better equipped to navigate those challenges. You can adapt, learn, and grow rather than being derailed by external circumstances. This inner strength allows you to build outward, to create relationships, careers, and communities that thrive even in the face of adversity. To start looking inward, make time for practices that encourage reflection. Journaling is a powerful tool for capturing your thoughts and gaining clarity. Meditation and mindfulness help you tune into the present moment and observe your inner world without judgment. Even simple acts like taking a walk in nature or sitting quietly with your thoughts can be transformative. Another crucial aspect of looking inward is seeking feedback from others. Sometimes we're so close to ourselves that we can't see our own blind spots. Trusted friends, mentors, or coaches can provide valuable insights and help you identify areas for growth. Be open to their perspectives, but remember to filter their feedback through the lens of your values and goals. As you look inward, remember that self-awareness is a journey, not a destination. You'll continue to discover new layers of yourself as you grow and evolve. Be patient and compassionate with yourself along the way. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and use each insight as a stepping stone to build outward. When you take the time to look inward, you create a strong, authentic foundation for everything else in your life. Your relationships become deeper and more meaningful because they're based on genuine connection rather than pretense. Your work becomes more fulfilling because it's aligned with your values and passions, and your impact on the world becomes greater because it's rooted in clarity and purpose. In a world full of distractions and competing priorities, it's easy to find ourselves drifting, pursuing goals that don't truly resonate with us, or making decisions that don't reflect who we are. But the most authentic and fulfilling lives are built when our actions align with our values. This alignment is not just about living a good life, it's about living a meaningful and intentional life that reflects our deepest beliefs and aspirations. So, what does it mean to align your actions with your values? It means ensuring that the choices you make, the habits you cultivate, and the way you show up in the world are all in harmony with the principles you hold dear. It's about living in a way that feels congruent with who you truly are, not who others think you should be. Again, But first, let's talk about values. Values are the core beliefs and priorities that guide your life. They might include integrity, compassion, creativity, growth, or freedom. Your values are uniquely yours, shaped by your experiences, culture, and aspirations. They represent what matters most to you at your core. However, many people go through life without clearly identifying their values. They get caught up in societal expectations, chasing external markers of success like money, status, or approval. While these pursuits might bring temporary satisfaction, they often leave a deeper sense of fulfillment out of reach. Why? Because they aren't rooted in personal values. To begin aligning your actions with your values, you must first define what those values are. Take time to reflect, define your values now, and become aware of your current value set. What principles do I hold most dear? What qualities do I admire in others? What activities, causes, or relationships bring me the greatest sense of joy and purpose? Yeah? Writing down your values can be a powerful exercise. When you see them clearly, you can start to evaluate whether your current actions align with them. And we all struggle because so often this brings us to the hard part, self-assessment. Are you living in alignment with your values? For example, if you value health, are you taking care of your physical and mental well-being? And this idea, if you value family, are you prioritizing quality time with loved ones? If you value honesty, are you communicating truthfully in your personal and professional relationships? It's important to be honest with yourself here. Misalignment often occurs when external pressures or habits pull us away from what we truly value. For instance, you might value creativity, but your daily routine is consumed by tasks that stifle innovation. Or you might value freedom, but find yourself trapped in commitments that don't serve you. Recognizing these gaps is the first step toward realignment. Realigning your actions with your values often requires making intentional and sometimes difficult choices. You might need to say no to opportunities that don't align with your purpose. You might need to set boundaries with people who drain your energy or challenge the status quo in areas of your life that feel stagnant. These decisions aren't easy, but they are necessary to live authentically. One of the most empowering aspects of aligning your actions with your values is the sense of clarity and peace it brings. When your actions reflect your values, you no longer feel the internal conflict that comes from living out of sync with yourself. You begin to experience what psychologists call congruence, the harmony between your inner self and outer life. But alignment isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily practice. Life is dynamic, and so are your values. What mattered most to you 5 years ago might not hold the same weight today. That's why it's crucial to periodically revisit your values and assess your actions. Are you still living in alignment? If not, what adjustments need to be made? It's also important to acknowledge that you won't always get it right. There will be moments when you slip up or compromise. That's okay. What matters is your willingness to recognize those moments and course correct. Alignment isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Living in alignment with your values doesn't just benefit you, it also impacts the people around you. When your actions reflect your values, you inspire others to do the same. You become a role model for authenticity and integrity. Your relationships deepen because they're built on trust and mutual respect. Your work becomes more impactful because it's fueled by passion and purpose. In the end, aligning your actions with your values is one of the most powerful ways to understand yourself and create a meaningful life. It requires reflection, courage, and consistency, but the rewards are immeasurable. You'll feel more grounded, more confident, and more at peace, knowing that you're living a life that's true to who you are. So take a moment today to ask yourself, are my actions aligned with my values? If the answer isn't a resounding yes, start making the changes, big or small, that will bring you closer to alignment. Because when your actions reflect your values, you're not just living, you're thriving. Understanding yourself is not a destination, it's a journey. It's a commitment to continuously explore, reflect, and grow into the person you are meant to be. Along this path, 4 principles serve as guiding lights. First, start with your why. Your purpose is your anchor, your compass, and your North Star. And when you uncover it, you create a foundation for a life filled with intention and meaning. Now, second, embrace vulnerability. True self-awareness comes when you dare to confront your fears, your failures, and your imperfections. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It's the birthplace of courage, connection, and growth. Third, look inward to build outward. Your inner world shapes your outer reality. By cultivating self-awareness, you create a stronger foundation for the relationships, achievements, and impact you want to build. Finally, align your actions with your values. When your choices reflect what matters most to you, you live authentically and powerfully. Alignment is not about perfection, it's about consistency and intention. The journey to understanding yourself is not always easy, but it's worth every step. It's a journey that requires patience, courage, and self-compassion. And while the process is deeply personal, its effects ripple outward. When you understand yourself, you not only transform your own life, you inspire others to embark on their journeys of self-discovery as well.